The Walking Dead Survival Instinct is claimed to be the worst game based on the ultra-popular franchise, but in this video game court, it's innocent until proven guilty. Court is now in session for a zombified episode of Innocent Until Proven Guilty. We're knee-deep in October and Halloween is just around the corner, but more importantly, The Walking Dead has finally returned! I'm a huge fan of the comic and show, and I've been anxiously awaiting this date for what feels like an eternity. I knew that I had to do something special to celebrate this grand occasion, and luckily for me, there just so happens to be a critically bashed 7th gen title influenced by Robert Kirkman's creation. Without further ado, it's time to bring The Walking Dead Survival Instinct to trial. Walking Dead Survival Instinct was released on March 19, 2013 for the PC, Wii U, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. The joint Activision and Terminal Reality production functions as a prequel to the AMC series and stars Daryl Dixon. Everybody's favorite crossbow-wielding, motorcycle-riding badass is caught in a cabin surrounded by roamers after the death of his father, and he has to escape, accompanied with his uncle Jess, to rendezvous with his brother Merle. Survival Instinct literally places the player into the younger Dixon's shoes as he searches for fuel and becomes equipped with the required tools of the trade. From flares and baseball bats to MREs and shotguns, a wide variety of assets are available for eliminating the undead menace and restoring health, all of which can be collected via the square button. Daryl can hold up to 10 items and weapons in his inventory, though they can be swapped out on the fly by holding square over the replacement, and they can be accessed for the D-pad and triangle button respectively. In true survival horror fashion, these essential supplies are extremely limited, putting a heavy emphasis on conservation and reliance on melee implements such as the knife. Damn it. The knife may not be the strongest or most efficient method of dealing with the reanimated corpses, but it allows the protagonist to silently sneak behind and stab them by holding R2. R2 is responsible for activating Daryl's possessions, and R1 shoves away the rampaging carcasses while L2 aims. The close-range attack of the knife puts Dixon in harm's way, and the skin eaters will grab onto him and start sinking their teeth in. When this happens, a little aiming reticule will appear, and we have to hold R2 when it's red to plunge the dagger into their skulls. Lining up the knife can be quite tough, and getting freed from one rotter usually leads us into the infected clutches of another, so it's sometimes best to make a run for it and hopefully reach a checkpoint, because the alternative is becoming the next meal at the Biter Buffet. Upon reaching the checkpoints, cutscenes will occasionally pop up to fill in the plot. The cutscenes are where the Walking Dead vibe shines through, as we get to see a digital version of Daryl, voiced by Norman Reedus himself, leading the charge and interacting with the survivors encountered along the way. Reedus gives a great performance, and the scenes that he shares with Michael Rooker as Merle are a true highlight.
You're just trying to gain false entry. That's what you're doing.
Damn it, Merle. I'm just gonna leave you here.
Keep your pants on, sweetheart. I locked this place down pretty good. Them people locked me up for days in the dark with all them abominations. But looky who's just a little bit too smart for them.
Bro, you're stir-fried from the sun and the booze and whatever else you've been into.
I do feel a little warm now that you mention it.
But the voiceover is just the cherry on top of the fantastic sound design. The audio team went for an authentic approach by using the score sparingly to enhance the suspense, leaving nothing but the moans of the zombies and nature tones to maximize the unsettling ambiance. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't unnerved by the creepy atmosphere, especially when I got an unexpected surprise. The visuals, on the other hand, are fairly dull and mediocre for the console generation, but they do a decent job of capturing the gruesome imagery of the series, so I'm not complaining. Story and gameplay have always been more important to me anyway, and survival instinct definitely delivers in these departments. The Dixon brothers' attempt to gain sanctuary in Atlanta is quite different from the traditional genre titles in that their travels take them across branching paths. After completing one leg of the journey, we'll be brought to a map screen where we can choose our next location and how we'll get there. There are 3 options: back roads, streets, and highways, and the choice that we make will determine how quickly we reach our destination. Driving down the highways, for example, increases the chance of a breakdown occurring, whereas opting for the back roads will raise the risk of emptying the gas tank, resulting in mandatory detours to gather the necessary pieces. As for the levels themselves, the objectives are marked on the pause screen, and the arrow on the compass indicates where to go in a straightforward manner. However, a zombie herd can appear at a moment's notice to create a sticky situation for our hero. I found that running away and avoiding the biters typically works well, but there are some circumstances where you're left with no choice but to unload with the pistol, rifle, or our hero's signature crossbow bolts. Despite putting forth our best efforts, we're inevitably gonna die over and over again due to the rabid fervor of the roamers, but fortunately there are limited chances, so all it takes is patience and determination as long as the supplies are managed properly. No matter which route is taken, Daryl and his group will travel to Sherwood, where they fail to make the evacuating helicopter before continuing onward to the conclusion at Firesign Stadium and into spoiler territory. Firesign Stadium mucks up the status quo right off the bat by having the Flesh Eaters interrupting the pre-mission briefing, indicating that the supposed safe zone isn't as safe as we'd thought. The undead mass is spread out as far as the eye can see, so the best course of action is to sprint away from them in the direction that the arrow is pointing. We'll eventually arrive at a helipad, and our final remaining task is to defend it from the walkers. This is much easier said than done, but I managed to hold on until Merle arrived in a fortified military vehicle. The Dixon boys are reunited and take out the swarms of decaying carcasses with a powerful turret loaded with unlimited ammo.
Keep them off me! Keep them off that jump! You hear?
Upon clearing the copter for takeoff, Merle declines the ride as he noticed the pilot had been bitten, and the brothers ride off into the sunset to meet with Glenn, Carol, and the rest of the Atlanta crew.
You know I got your back.
Yeah, no.
Hell, I'm the only man you could ever count on.
The Walking Dead Survival Instinct combines FPS and horror elements into a unique licensed tie-in that seems like it would please fans of the franchise, yet its reception was largely met with negativity. Is it really as bad as the critics claim, or is the hate unjustified? Let's find out in the breakdown! The Walking Dead is one of the most popular shows of all time, and Survival Instinct should have been a massive hit. Everyone loves Norman Reedus and first-person shooters, yet the target demographic wrote this off as a colossal disaster. Terminal Reality had the formula for instant success, so what went wrong? One of the biggest disappointments for me is the overall absence of the famous cast. I understand that this is a prequel, and I appreciated seeing more of Merle, but a little variety would have been nice, especially if it involved assuming the role of Rick Grimes. Setting that personal nitpick aside and viewing this from a technical standpoint reveals flaws in the presentation such as substandard graphics, minor bugs, and an overall lack of polish. The simulation aspect that adds a dose of realism to the mechanics became tedious and ultimately contributed to the perception of this being a licensed tie-in that's as lifeless as the rotting corpses from the source material. Survival Instinct may not be worthy of the respect and recognition awarded to Resident Evil, but it's still a top-notch zombie-slaying experience. I'm normally not much of an FPS guy, but that genre perfectly suits the tense action and post-apocalyptic vibe that's pervasive throughout. The visual aesthetic may be primitive in comparison to its peers, but the sound department picks up the slack and deserves a round of applause for their excellent work. As someone who sank countless hours into Dead Rising, I was taken aback by the shift in perspective, and I got the crap scared out of me repeatedly after being immersed into this nightmarish world. The previously mentioned simulation angle in conjunction with the first-person view makes for a great concept that was executed excellently into a damn good game. In the case of The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, I rule that the verdict is innocent! It may come as no surprise considering how much I gushed during the breakdown, but I genuinely believe that this Activision and Terminal Reality collaboration is very good. Is it the worst tie-in based on the franchise? Possibly. I haven't played the Telltale title, but I've heard that's amazing, so I'd say it's a safe bet to slap that shameful label on Survival Instinct. Regardless of the validity of that claim, I'll still praise this as a kick-ass horror FPS that's definitely worth seeking out to enhance the Halloween spirit. Anyway, now that I've wrapped up this spooktacular celebration, there's another IUPG case on the docket that I have to prepare for. Be sure to come back for that, but until then, court is now adjourned! Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, click any of the boxes on the screen right now and you'll be able to watch a few more of my videos. And if you haven't already, be sure to click that red box right there in the corner and that'll subscribe to the channel and you'll be able to keep up to date with all of my current content. Thanks again, everyone.